Hey folks, we are ahead of schedule today. Apparently, I've got a schedule conflict, so I needed to jump on earlier than I expected. But we're going to play with some martial powers today. We're going to build out a new design for the Barbarian Berserker using the martial power system that we've been developing here on stream for the past year. So we're on episode 60 something today. I'm going to check my signal here real quick. Make sure everything's coming through clean, and then we'll get into this for a little bit. Hold on real quick. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Mic check, mic check. All right, that sounds pretty good. Bloop. All right, let's see. Get into my intro spiel. Hey, my name is Phil. I'm Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements that I publish online as PDFs. Currently, I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There is a slew of works that I've already published on DMsGuild.com that you can peruse to see if you like the cut of my jib. There's probably about 150 illustrations across the various books that are linked down below. So if you're an art enthusiast and you've been following my art streams, be welcome to check that stuff out. If you're a D&D enthusiast or a 5e enthusiast, certainly be welcome to check that stuff out as well. And if you find any of it you would feel that would add to your game, then I certainly encourage you to pick it up and make use of it. Furthermore, I've just published that I'm live on Twitter, so if you want to get live updates for every time I'm going live, you can follow me at Phil Kearney on Twitter. I have a Patreon set up that if you want to see early looks at stuff, including the martial power system that we're going to be working on today, you can follow me on Twitter. And best way to support the channel itself right now is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, get notifications of when we go live in the future, and you are greatly appreciated. So, hey, this is the martial power system. So, what are we doing here? Hey, Hornetico, you has arrived. What up, dude? We are continuing the development of the martial power system. If you follow my advice and follow the link to the I don't know why Patreon isn't lighting up. But Patreon, I'll have to fix that. My Patreon here. Bloop, bloop. Phil Kearney, what up? Let's see. In command system. Martial powers. Here we go. Recent post. Playtesting the martial power system. Look, it's the martial power system. It's the exact same document that I'm looking at right now. But you have read-only access. So you can read along with me if you would like, by checking out my Patreon. I'll fix the link on that at some point. But yeah, so let's see. We're hoping to finish up subclass conversions in July, clean up the overall document through August, and at some point, perhaps in September, hand it off to have editing done and casually pursue book cover design, and hoping to have the post-edit text resolved in December for us to build out layouts in the new year to have published probably in March 2024 ahead of 1D&D. I think converting this to whatever 1D&D ends up being should be relatively easy. Whew. Knock on wood there. So, hey, what are we doing today? We are going to develop the Barbarian. So if you're not familiar with the Martial Powers Project, there's 60 some odd episodes prior to this one that you can go and you can take a look at all the stuff that we've been developing. But I need to set a timer here real quick to make sure I'm staying track of my time. I apparently have an appointment at 1 o'clock. I didn't have on my calendar. So I've got maybe an hour or so to build this thing out. So it ends up being just a normal day of power here. But I'll be back next week as well to continue doing this. Let's see. Okay, great. So today we're going to work on the Berserker specifically. So looking at the Barbarian, the martial power system is basically a half-casting spell point system progression that has 5 tiers of power that you can channel. Each power that you can learn is a different rank. First rank powers cost 1 mana. Third rank powers cost 3 mana, etc., etc. So you gain a number of mana depending on your level, or if you're a barbarian, you would call it fury. So a Barbarian uses the hybrid, uses the martial point system, which is you gain, like a 20th level Barbarian has 20 mana per day or 20 fury per day, along with some kicker effects, such as the Barbarian optional class features here. You gain martial powers at first. If you're going to use the power system, you gain it at first level. So you can start accumulating power and fury immediately, along with your rage feature. So let's see, martial powers. Beginning at first level as a Barbarian, you learn 2 first rank powers from the martial powers listed in section 3, which we'll look at below. You gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers progression table, and when you choose a subclass as detailed below. So I'm going to, again, we have max rank is a half casting progression. So at first level, you gain first rank, 5th level, 2nd rank, 9th level, 3rd rank, 13th level, 4th rank, and then 17th level is 5th rank. And there's a power die that's attached to die modifiers, kind of like inspiration or superiority dice or flash of insight dice. That at first level it starts off with a D6, it evolves into a D8 at 9th level, and evolves eventually into a D10 at 17th level. And the amount of powers that you gain is keyed to the level, and you can swap out all of your powers whenever you gain a level, just like you can swap out all your prepared spells at the beginning of each day. So Barbarian, okay, great. So at first rank you gain powers, and then you get the power progression system that we have. Here's all the powers that we have of 140 plus a bunch of feats and stuff. Let's see. So you gain powers at first level and you continue to accumulate them. Fury at first level, you gain 1 point of fury, and you gain 1 additional point of fury every level with a maximum of 20 at 20th level, which you regain when you finish a long rest. As well, you can channel rage, which is when you're using martial powers. Rage gains additional benefits. While raging, you cannot maintain concentration. If you channel a sustained power while raging, it locks, and you can choose to tap or lock sustained powers as normal when you are not raging. You lock a sustained power as a concentration effect. If you are raging, you can't concentrate. A mechanic that we have is called locking, which is you no longer have to maintain concentration on things that are locked, but it effectively reduces the amount of mana that you can use at a time. If you are 5th level and you have access to 2nd rank powers, a 2nd rank power costs 2 mana to trigger. You can channel a 1st rank power with 1 mana. If at 5th level you sustain a power that requires 1 mana, if you lock it, you've now cut one rank of mana out of your character, so your 2 while locked becomes 1. So if you have 2nd rank powers, you can no longer channel them while you have 1 rank of power locked. If you unlock that rank, you gain access to both ranks of power, so you can channel 2nd rank powers at that point, or you can just continue to channel 1st rank powers while one is locked. If you lock 2 ranks of power with either a 2nd rank power or 2 1st rank powers, then you would lose access to all mana, and you can't channel anything while those 2 mana are sustained. Luckily, the martial power system offers you a bunch of free feats. So at really low levels, when you don't have shit for mana, and you can't really afford to throw around a bunch of mana to nuke people with like bursting strikes, or use reactions to like counter people's spells by punching them in the face, for instance, you wouldn't be able to do those sort of things if you have all your mana locked. But you can still, say, convert all your weapon attacks into force damage, or you can use literally any of the feats on this list. So you can, instead of learning powers that cost mana, you can learn additional feats and say, screw you, mana, I don't want a point pool. I'm just going to have these things. Or you can specifically choose just to learn a couple different sustained powers that you will automatically lock whenever you wake up at the beginning of your day. You activate your powers, you lock them, you're done with mana for the day. And if you have 7 more powers left over to use, then you, again, can just go down here and spend them on additional feats, or you can spend them on learning additional damage types so that you could always deal, say, fire and radiant damage, for instance. If you want to be a Boros paladin, you could learn the power of fire and radiant damage, and those are just permanent things you can do now whenever you deal damage. You can deal with your sword, slashing damage, fire damage, or radiant damage. Take your pick, that sort of thing. And then we have the damage paradigms down here, like red deals fire or force, and white deals cold or radiant damage. So when you look at the Boros Legion, it's white and red, according to Magic the Gathering, which by default would be fire and lightning, as well as force and radiant. So like you could pick fire and radiant expressing it, but you could learn all 4 of them if you want. Because if you don't have anything else to do with your powers, but you're accumulating them anyway, you don't want to use mana, just pick up all types of all 4 types of damage types, and then just fill in whatever feats you think are going to help benefit your paladin. Like, say, I don't know, maybe giant weapon master with a bit of polearm master with a bit of sentinel. That's 3 feats that you can pick up right there, right? Plus the 4 damage types. That takes 7 of the 16 powers that you would know. And then like maybe you decide to pick up a couple sustained powers just for the fun of it, like crouching stance so you can grapple well or something, or like elemental resistance so you become resistant to different energy types. You can just lock down all of your mana to just provide you with lots of elemental resistances. Or if you wanted to play like a Blood Hunter Ranger, you could pick up lycanthropy, for instance, and just lock that in as a shifter. So these are different things that you can do. So today we're exploring the Barbarian Berserker. So we're going to see what powers in here are going to complement the Berserker kit. Just to finish off our little introduction here to the Barbarian, Channeling Rage. You lock the ability, and at 14th level, when you choose to channel a sustained power as part of a bonus action, you can choose to channel a sustained power as part of the bonus action used to rage. So at 14th level, when you decide to rage, it takes a bonus action, and you could choose as part of that bonus action also to trigger a sustained effect and lock it. There you go, added value. 3rd level, Empowered Rest. So when you gain this class feature at 3rd level, it's just a basic Barbarian feature if you use the martial power system. So at 3rd level, when you spend hit dice to heal damage during a short rest, you can also regain a number of spent fury equal to the number of dice spent up to your Barbarian level. So at 20th level, you have 20 hit dice. If you take a short rest and you've spent all of your mana between the beginning of the day and now, you take a short rest. If you burn all 20 of your hit dice, you can get all 20 mana back, completely refreshing your pool. But you'll be out of hit dice for the day, so you can only do that. You can't do that again. If you like instead only burn 7 hit dice, then you get 7 mana back. Like if you were down to 13, you could burn 7 hit dice, get those back, you still have 13 hit dice. If you take a short rest later on in the day, you could continue to burn hit dice to get your your fury pool back. So the optional class feature of Primal Stamina, also gained at 3rd level, which is when you finish a long rest, you regain a number of hit dice equal to your Barbarian level instead of half of your level. So that helps guarantee that regardless of what 1D&D does, this caveat allows you to always get all of your hit dice back, so you have reliable recycling of your mana pool. So you're effectively, if you're healing yourself like you should, you're also effectively punching with the same amount of mana as a paladin and a ranger normally would that you're used to. So it's actually a lot of power there, pardon the pun. So that's the basic premise of how the Barbarian itself is modified. Then we have the modified Path of Furious Power, which leans into all the mechanics that we have here in the martial power system, but that's not what we're doing today. Today we're modifying paths. So we're going to go to D&D Beyond. That was a long prelude, so thanks a lot for sticking around with me, guys. Oh, whatever. Giants, who cares? What a tone-deaf book. Like, anyone's asking for giants? Hard pass. Let's go to the Barbarian. Path of the Berserker. I'm going to take all of the Path of the Berserker here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste, drop this into the notepad just so we can queue things up. And then where's my bits? I've lost my bits. There. Oh, my shift key's locked down. That explains it. Let's get out of that. Go to here. Let's go down to here, and then we have our powers here. Okay, great. So when we're modifying them, much like any other subclass that's a spellcaster, you have your list of free ability or free spells that you gain that become, you always know them. They're permanently prepared or known. So you always have these prepared, and it follows the half casting progression of 3rd, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th level. And then you have your chain of features. And sometimes they don't need to be changed and they're good as is. Sometimes we want to make modifications to them that curves more elegantly into what we're doing with the martial power system. So we're going to see now that we are down here with the Berserker, we'll be able to see how the Berserker is going to change its class features. So I'm going to take this, copy that here to the Berserker, paste, and then 2, 3, 4. There. And let's figure out what the actual title of these things are. Frenzy. Presence and retaliation. Okay, so let's take a look at what these are. First thing we're going to do is we're going to convert the class features for the Berserker into the martial powers language, if there needs to be any changes at all. We don't know yet. Once we define what the features are available provided to us by the Berserker, we'll see where the holes in the kit are that we can then start filling in with actual martial powers. And as you can see, you get roughly 10 of them. So let's see. Yeah, you get 10. Well, this one got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We gave this one 11 for no particular reason other than we wanted to. So there you go. But that's the Storm Herald. Cheers. So let's go back here into the Berserker equals Frenzy. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so, for the duration of your rage, you can make a single melee weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns after this one. When your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. Yeah, no, that's a bullshit feature. So starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, you can go into, starting at 3rd level when you choose this path, you can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so, for the duration of your rage, you can go into a frenzy when you rage, period. For the duration. We don't need frenzy to be a fucking different type of rage. It's just a bonus feature to raging. So you can go into a frenzy when you rage. For the duration of your rage, you can make a single weapon attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. Including the turn you choose to rage, period. That's it. You don't need fucking exhaustion to gain a bonus attack. You could just pick up a second weapon and not get exhausted by swinging the fucking sword. So let's just give this guy the benefit of the doubt that he's spent an entire class feature to have an offhand weapon attack let's not exhaust him for having the ability to use a strength modifier and a large size weapon to do so. It's just fucking grow up. So I apparently have my anger on today about how crappy some of these features are and how just powerful, I guess, Wizards thought a barbarian attack was at 3rd level. I mean, anyway, sorry. I've got my righteous indignation today. So let's just keep moving forward because I can throw vitriol at Wizards all day. Beginning at 6th level, you can't be charmed or frightened while raging. If you're charmed or frightened when you enter your rage, the effect is suspended for the duration of the rage. That is just fantastic. Mindless rage. Let's do this one better. Because again, it's not that important. It's not like being charmed or frightened is a really important counter to your characters. So if you're charmed or frightened, when you enter the rage, the effect ends. And if you are charmed or frightened when you enter rage, the effects end. Fucking period. Good enough. Decent class feature. I don't see a reason to limit. Like, most fear effects last less than a minute anyway. Charmed effects can last longer, but how can you go from being raged and not charmed at all, and your rage ends and now suddenly you're back to being charmed again? While I am angry, I can do whatever I want, but as soon as I stop being angry, I'm just going to go back to being this guy's simp. That doesn't make sense. It's bad design, so we're getting rid of it. Screw you, Ufus. Just simplifying it, making it better quality of living. So, intimidating presence. This is just us modifying the base features. Once we finish modifying the base features, we're going to go in and add some real power to this guy. Pun intended. So, intimidating presence. Beginning at 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone within your menacing presence. With your menacing... I see. It's... Shouldn't that read with your... Is it a menacing presence or is it an intimidating presence? Is the menacing presence identifying how you're intimidating because you're menacing? Or are you menacing because you're intimidating? Or was this originally supposed to be called menacing presence and they flubbed the edit and didn't change it to with your intimidating presence? When you do so, choose one creature that you can see within one creature. Do tell. If the creature can see or hear you, it must succeed a wisdom saving throw. Or be frightened of you until the end of the next turn. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to extend the duration. You can use your action to frighten someone. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to extend the duration of this effect on the frightened creature until the end of your next turn. This effect ends if the creature ends its turn out of line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. If the creature succeeds on its saving throw, you can't use this feature on that creature again. No, this is garbage. You can fix this. It's an easy fix, but it needs to be done. So, beginning at 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone. Let's go with... Beginning at 10th level, while raging, you can use your bonus action including the bonus action used to rage, to frighten someone with your intimidating presence. When you do so, choose one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature can see or hear you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened. And we've already defined what your DCs are above in the earlier section of what just the general DC is for a barbarian. So we already have that language in here. If it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you. Period. On subsequent turns, you can... No. On subsequent turns, the affected, the frightened, on subsequent turns, the creature can make additional saving throws at the end of its turn to end the effect. Period. This isn't the best language yet, but we're just putting it in. So this effect ends if this effect also ends. That's just not the right language at all. This effect also ends. I'm just putting it here for now. If ends its turn out of the line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. If the creature succeeds on a saving throw, and then you can't use this feature on that. You can't use this feature on the same creature again until you finish a long rest. As it stands, this is an infinite use ability. As long as you're willing to spend actions on it, you can keep somebody afraid of you. This, let's see, you can use your bonus action to frighten someone, to frighten a creature with your intimidating presence. When you do so, choose one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature can see or hear you, it must succeed a wisdom saving throw or frightened of you. The creature can make additional saving throws at the end of its turn to end the effect. This effect also ends if the creature ends its turn out of line of sight of you. This effect also ends if when your rage ends, comma, if the creature ends its turn out of line of sight or more than 60 feet away from you. You can't use this feature on the same creature again until you finish a long rest. And you can use this, and you can only affect one creature with your intimidating presence at. You can only affect one creature with your intimidating presence at a time. That's not proper language either, but it's infinitely spammable as rules as written. It's infinitely spammable. It uses your action, and you have to keep queuing your action to keep intimidating that creature. But as soon as it succeeds a saving throw, you no longer affect it, and you've wasted your action for that turn because it succeeded at saving throw. It's no longer useful to you. This converts it so that it's a bonus action to activate the power. You can do so only while you're raging. You can do so as part of your rage, but you can only affect one creature at a time. And it will stay in effect until it can't see you, gets far enough away, your rage ends, or it succeeds a saving throw at the end of each of its turns. And you can only affect one creature at a time. So that simplifies plus adds value to it at the same time without actually breaking the class feature, and makes it a little bit more up to date with just how the strength of different class features in general. So retaliation, I'm pretty happy with that one. So let's go with retaliation. So far, this is all pretty good. There's good stuff here, it just needs to be improved, right? That's what we're doing. So starting at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against that creature. That's a 14th level ability, folks. Are you effing kidding me? Okay. I'm not here to replace the feature. It's just a disappointing feature. No changes. Now, keep in mind, I don't need this anymore, so we can X that guy out. So I'm happy with that as is. But let's keep in mind, we have reactions. Do we have a reaction? I can swear we have a reaction to this, something similar to that. So let's see. Let's see what we can see. Punish. This misses an attack roll. Opt, Stolen Fate, Anchor, countering attack. As a reaction to an enemy within range of your melee attack, cast a spell. No, that's a spell casting thing. Hexproof, Rite of Revival. Holy Hannah. Wow, we don't actually have... Huh. When you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, when you take damage, just period, that's, well, it comes in super late, but it's also super useful. Wait. I'm going to reword that, actually. I actually did find a way to improve this offhand. Let's, So starting at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature. Starting at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that is within 5 feet of you, within reach of your melee attacks, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature. Okay, so I know what we're going to pick up there. Okay, great. So that's our kits, and you gain that at 14th level. So let's start cherry picking cool shit to add to the character. So we're going to go to our big list of powers, and we're going to start picking stuff. And in this instance, I know what we're going to go for at 13th level, and that is going to be hypertunistic. Let me go find that. I believe that is a sustained power. So let's go find it. It's in here somewhere. Where are you? Opportunist. There we go. While this power is sustained, when you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks during your turn to gain an equal number of additional reactions, limited to 1 per turn, including your own, that you can use to make opportunity attacks. before your next turn. So that's Opportunist. It is a second rank power. It is a sustained power, which we can lock. So let's go with Opportunist sus2, comma. So at 13th level, you'll have access to 4 ranks of power. Opportunist will lock 2 of them automatically, which then allows you to take your 2 normal attacks and convert them into opportunity attacks by skipping your attack action. So you have an action, you skip it, you now have 3 reactions. If you're going to, that you gain that at 13th level. Then at 14th level, when you take damage from a creature that is within reach of your melee attacks, you can use a reaction to make an opportunity attack against that creature. So let's imagine, if we shall, again, looking at Opportunist specifically, when this power is sustained, or in this instant, locked, when you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks during your turn to gain an equal number of additional reactions, including your own, which is limited to 1 reaction per turn, including your own, that you can be used to make opportunity attacks before your next turn. So, in this example, using retaliation at 14th level, if you are fighting an evil cleric that is sustaining, guardian spirits that deals damage to creatures that are within the area of effect, and you move during your turn, which then causes the guardian, the spirit guardian power to trigger, causing damage to you. If you are within melee reach of that cleric, because it's sustaining an AoE effect that damaged you, you can now target him with an opportunity attack during your turn because your movement triggered the damage caused by the NPC. So you can now burn one of your opportunity attacks to attack that cleric. You then have 2 opportunity attacks left. You could then run into a crowd of people, and if any of them uses an opportunity attack to hit you during your movement, for example, it's still your turn, so you can only use 1 reaction per round. So if you decided instead of that spirit guardian example, if instead you just barreled into a squad of enemies and any of them decided to make an attack of opportunity against you and hit, dealing 1 or more points of damage, you can then use a reaction to make an opportunity attack against them in change. And then you still have 2 reactions open to use. So, which you could, again, they're opportunity attacks. So, anything that would trigger an opportunity attack would work. There you go. So that's a cool use of, that's a cool little use of opportunist. There's also, but there is hypertunistic. And that is an exploit. So let's cue that one up. This one's fucking sick. Maneuvers, no. It's an exploit. I think it's 2nd rank. Where are you? Ooh, maybe it's 3rd. Nope, 2nd rank. No, yeah, well, got it. It's 3rd rank. So it costs 3 mana to do this. When you make an opportunity attack, you can attack the same creature twice. So you use your reaction to make 2 attacks, not just 1. But it'll cost you 3 mana to do it. You have to. So what does that tell us? If you are 13th rank and you lock Opportunist, that costs 2 mana out of 4. You lose 2 of those mana, you can now only channel 2 mana. That means that you can't use Hypertunistic because it costs 3 mana to do so. It's too expensive. 2 plus 3 is 5. That's over your cap at 13th level. But at 17th level, it becomes something that you can use because at 17th level, you gain 5th rank, which means you can channel 5 mana at once, which means that if you lock Opportunist with 2, that leaves 3 points left over, which means you can use Hypertunistic. So that helps create a pathway for us automatically that says you can gain Hypertunistic, which is exploit 3 at 17th level. 2 plus 3, 5 total. Opportunist is locked automatically. Hypertunistic becomes available for the remaining 3. Bob's your uncle. Love it. But we could theoretically gain Hypertunistic as early as 9th level, because that's when you gain access to 3rd rank powers. But it's also super stupid expensive at that level, so you may not want to do it. But we have solutions. So let's see what other cool powers we have to buff out our kit before we settle on what we need to do. But I've got ideas here. So let's see how things pan out. This is a barbarian, so we want to look at high ranks. We want to look at high level shit. The highest rank power is only 4th, even though you can channel up to 5 ranks of power. There are no 5th rank powers. There's only 1st through 4th rank powers, which means you gain access to everything that the power system has to offer you by 13th level, which is a lot more accessible than the high hanging fruit of the 4th tier options. Like level 17 plus is 4th tier. Very few people actually ever get to play up that high, but a lot of people get into the 9th and 13th level range. So keeping there's a very meta concept of keeping these things low-hanging fruit, but we want them to be used. We aren't building these things just because they look cool. We want you to actually fucking use this shit. So use this shit. So Frenzy. Oh, we have to change the name of Frenzy because Frenzy is a Berserker feature. Good point. So let's see. Frenzy. While sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack when you take the attack action, and you gain advantage on all attack rolls. That is insane. If you want to use Reckless Attack and you have Frenzy active, the Frenzy offsets the disadvantage to your frenzied attack rolls, and so it's just a straight attack. And you gain an extra attack. So if you're using Opportunist, you can now have 4 opportunity attacks per round instead of just 3. Or you can have 3 attacks and plus your normal reaction. Anyway, it's expensive. It'll cost you 4 mana to do it, but you can gain access to it as early as 13th level. So, while sustaining this power, you gain 1 additional attack. I'm taking that. Frenzy is a obvious go-to. So, Frenzy, but I have to rename it. Sus 4. How about Frenzied Attacks? Yeah, we'll call it Frenzied Attacks. Work in progress. While sustaining his power. I love that power, by the way. I think it's super fun. Cannot sustain Opportunist and Frenzied Attack at the same time at 17th level because it's going to eat up all your mana budget. Frenzied Attack automatically locks while you're raging, eating up a shitload of your budget. So what we're going to do here to help fix that a little bit, first off, let's take Hypertunistic and drop it down to 3rd, drop it to the 9th level where you can gain original access to it. And let's do 2 things. One, let's go find our list of feats. Because we have Efficient Power. I love Efficient Power. Efficient Power is it's a repeatable feat that you can learn at 5th level or higher, and you must have the channeling class feature. So, choose a power that you have learned of 2nd rank or higher. Reduce the rank and amount of mana to channel the power by 1. So, if we take Efficient Power, now Frenzied Attack only takes 3 mana to channel, as opposed to 4. So now you could theoretically both lock Opportunist and Frenzied Attack at the same time. But you, if you're raging, it locks automatically. You wouldn't be able to use anything. So by the time you get to 17th level, if you're going to be using Frenzied Attack and Opportunist, that drops down to 4. So you would then feed 4 to 3. That's the proper way of expressing this. So at 17th level, you'd be able to use Opportunist and Frenzied attack together and still have 1 mana open for you to channel strikes, powers, exploits, whatever it is that you want. Hypertunistic, Efficient Power. You could pick up Efficient Power anytime you want on your own and affect Hypertunistic or Frenzied attack, etc. So let's not necessarily grab that there. And let's go with... Let's push Frenzied attack to here. Comma. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep digging. Let's see what else is there. Frenzy, make a... Frenzy. Okay, cool. So, Frenzy's a thing. Let's go to our exploits to gain Flurry of Attacks, I think is what it's called. Exploits. Oh no, it's a maneuver. That's right. Double strike. There it is. Nope. Make 2 weapon. Nope, that's not it. Where are you, kid? Shunt, pack tactics, phase, curse, swift, restrained, rally, mobility, goad, flatten, distract, curse. Oh, maybe it is an exploit. Where are you? Double strike, flicker pounce. Oh, right. Double strike is it. Hold on. That's right. So double strike is a maneuver. God, it's expensive. Maneuvers can be, you can trigger a maneuver as an action or as a bonus action. So double strike, super useful. Double strike. Which is a maneuver 3, which you can use as a bonus action. So make 2 weapon attacks with advantage, and it's a maneuver, so it can't modify an attack roll. It's its own action. So that's good. Let's go down here and look at some lower hanging fruit. Okay. Let's go look at 4th rank. Oh, let's look at some strikes. We haven't done anything with strikes yet. As a reaction to an enemy you can see within range of your weapon attack misses an attack roll against you or an ally, you can make an opportunity attack, adding 1 power to the attack roll. Whew, man, punish is pretty good. Not quite the flavor for Frenzied Berserker, though. Let's see. As a reaction to when you drop 0 hit points but don't die outright, you remain conscious and roll a number of power dice equal to the mana burned, gaining that many hit points instead up to your max. Rite of Revival is just ridiculously powerful. I love that. Let's instead look at 4th. Let's see. Banishing Strike, no. Paralyzing Strike, not so much. Stunning Strike, no. Bursting Strike, no. Restraining Strike. Provoking Strike. Life-stealing Strike. Intimidating Strike is pretty on flavor. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. And the creature is frightened of you until it loses line of sight with you or you are incapacitated. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns, so Intimidating Strike is useful. So we'll go in 2nd rank, so... What other strike might there be that's fun and useful? I think shocking strike is or thundering strike is useful. I just like the way that thundering strike punts people away from you, but it doesn't feel very frenzied. It doesn't feel like frenzy to me. So let's just go. Just me. Yeah, no, I'm just not feeling those. Yeah, not feeling any of those. All right. Now, you could always pick them up on your own. I just don't think any of them are iconic to the class build. We're looking for things that are iconic to the style, the power fantasy of what the Berserker is. And Intimidating Strike folds together nicely with Intimidating Presence. They operate independently from each other. I like that. But that's the only strike in that whole set that I'm seeing that really says Berserker. If you decided at first level or third or any point that you wanted to say pick up Shocking Strike so that you deal extra lightning damage and creatures can't take reactions, you can do that starting at first level if you want. But it's not iconic to what I think the Berserker is expressing. So let's see. We have a lot of sustain power stacked up, but it's not until later in the game. Early ranks, we actually want sustained powers that are inexpensive. So let's see if there's anything in here that feels like it augments what we're doing. Fast increases the proficiency modifier by 10. Dire Impact. When sustaining this power, weapon attacks are magic. And you can add your proficiency bonus to your weapon damage rolls. That's not bad. Starting right off the cuff with an extra +2 per attack. It's not horrible. I mean, it just gets better. I like that. Yeah, Dire Impact. Neat. There. One. Now, that pretty much takes care of the sustained powers that we want to pick up. We've already resolved strikes, so we're going to get a lot of reaction stuff with Hypertunistic eventually. But let's just see if there's any low-hanging reactions that we just like that are first or second rank. Curse of Exposure is pretty good as a reaction. I like that. Actually, taking it at higher level sounds like a lot smart too. Curse of Exposure. Curse of Exposure. As a reaction to a creature within 30 feet taking damage, if the creature is resistant to the damage, it can't benefit from resistance if the resistance to the damage rolled. Alternatively, if it's immune to the damage, it is instead only resistant. So that adds a lot of firepower to your Barbarians Cleave kit as it stands. We're now looking at maneuvers. And we need a first, second, or probably third rank maneuver. So let's see what other cool maneuvers may be laying around that makes sense for us to pick up. Double Strike, we already grabbed it. Incapacitators for like a Jotun build. Paralyze, not so much. TK Bubble to Sci-Fi for the Berserker. Wave of Terror is a viable option. Wave of Terror, you can choose any number of creatures within 30 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw. Each creature that fails is frightened of you. The effect ends for a creature when it succeeds a saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or if it loses line of sight of you. So Wave of Terror is a viable option. So we'll just do this. Wave of Terror, and that is third. Man 3. If I can't find a better maneuver, well, actually that's actually not a bad place to be. Wave of Terror. So now we're looking for first and second rank maneuvers and exploits. So first, second. Swift Resuscitation. You can stabilize a dying creature by touch. Nah, that's a healing hand sort of thing. That's not really a Berserker. Restraining Hold. That's grappling stuff, not really Berserker related. Rally. That's leadership stuff. Mobility is not bad. That's a maneuver. It's a first rank maneuver, so as an action, it's basically Step of the Wind, Monk. Costs you 1 mana. You can dash, disengage, or dodge. But it's not iconic to the Berserker. Running faster just doesn't really speak to it. Bonus attack. You can make an attack with a weapon you're holding. You already have the frenzy effect replaces this for bonus actions. So now we're looking just for exploits. First and second rank exploits, specifically. Precise attack. When you make an attack, roll with advantage and roll one. No, because you're going to have Frenzy Berserker. So, oh no, you can make an attack roll with advantage and roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest roll to your result. God, that's so good. You get advantage and you get to roll a power die to add to your attack effect. It's expensive, but you hit shit with it. Not necessarily what the Berserker is all about, though. Cooperative effort? No. Veterinary? No. Unnerving Focus. When you make an ability check that uses the Intimidation skill, or while rolling to determine if you maintain concentration, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result. Well, if you're raging, you can't maintain concentration, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. I think there's other, but intimidation does. I think there's other things that affect intimidation rolls. So let's go find it. There we are. Proselytizer. When making an ability check, you can use Intimidation's performance or religion skill. Roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to your highest roll to your result. I like that. Let's see if there's anything else that does for intimidation. There we go. Commanding Presence. When you're making an ability check that uses the Intimidate, Performance, or Persuasion skill, roll 1 power die. There. Roll 1 power die and channel, adding the result roll to your result. Intimidation. I like that one a lot. Anything else? Nope, that's the one. So, Commanding Presence. One last first rank power. Use tools you're proficient with. One power die. No. When you take the move action, you can channel this power to prevent triggering opportunity attacks due to your movement. The first attack you make during this movement can roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the attack roll. Charge is not a bad option for a Frenzy Berserker. Extended attack. When making a melee attack with a weapon, your reach increases 5 feet. Additionally, you can roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the attack roll. The extended attack is also pretty nice. I think we're probably going to end up going with charge. But let's not assume too much yet. Overrun. Channel this exploit as part of a move action. You can move through spaces occupied by creatures. The movement can trigger opportunity attacks unless 3 or more mana is burned. You can move through spaces occupied by creatures. This movement can trigger opportunity attacks unless 3 or more mana is burned to channel this power. Creatures move through this way take 1 power die of force damage for each mana burned. If you end your turn in a space occupied by another creature, you instead end the turn in the most recently unoccupied space that you move through during the turn without dealing any damage to the creature. Creatures can only be damaged once this way each turn. Overrun ain't bad, but I think charge is still better. Resilience, making a saving throw. That's not really what Berserker is about. Definitely not subtle channeling. Yep, charge. Exploit. Hey, Alan. How you doing? Charge. Exploit 1. How are we sitting? We're at noon. We've been going for just a little bit of an hour, and we literally just finished the Berserker. Not bad. Got 2 minutes left on our timer here. I'm going to sit back and bask in the glory of the things that we have created today. So you gain these 10 powers over the course if you decide to stay with Barbarian as a Berserker to 17th level. These are all the different powers that you get, and again, if you click in the, it's not. There should be a link, but I don't have the HTTP thing on there. But my Patreon is there, and if you follow that through, you'll end up on this document as a read-only document as well. Obviously, I have edit rights because it's mine, but it's open for folks to at least look at. This is hardly the final language that we're going to use. It's not the formatting we're going to use. It's not the layout we're going to use. So DMsGuild doesn't allow you to publish content anywhere. This isn't actually the content we're publishing. What DMsGuild owns is how you express the ideas of your supplement. If you're expressing pre-edit, rough draft ideas that aren't using the finalized language that you expect to be in the document, doing something like this as a read-only document is perfectly acceptable for when you would then have an editor go in, clean up the language for you, then you come back and you do all your page layouts and stuff like that, and then publish the PDF. This ain't that PDF. So I can safely share this in other works that I'm noodling on for potential publishing on DMsGuild. You can safely put them here and still be within compliance with the rules that DMsGuild has set about sharing information. So far, we're still compliant. Once we hand this document off to our editor for cleanup, that editing process, whatever that ends up, whatever that ends up being, we won't be sharing that online for you guys to read for free. Once we get to the stage where we have it in edits, the next step after that would be to drop it into our Word program and do what we're doing on Spelljammer in the morning, which is building assets to put into the actual book, and then only looking at the pages that the illustrations are that we're working on at the moment. And then the whole thing, when it publishes on DMsGuild, it'll be 100% free preview. You can read it cover to cover to see all this crap. But the Patreon link that we have now is just giving you a first look at the playtest content. And it is solid. You can play this entire book is, if you don't mind the rough language and the playtest nature of it, it's good to go for any character that you have listed here. Barbarian, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, as well as Artificer and Warlock. We have rules for that further down below as well. But you can play any of these from level 1 to 20, any of them. I'm play testing it right now at 18th level at my own home table. We have an Arcane Trickster that exchanges spells for powers, and we have a ranger that has almost all his spell kit is instead powers instead of spells. So good stuff, fun stuff to play. But you can read along with this and check it all out yourself. It's certainly coming along, Alan. Thank you. Let's see. So, and here's the features. You can pause screen and look at the features that we revised here. Pretty concise compared to what's in the DMG here. We've modified all of it to just be more elegant, to give better action economy, and to make it a little bit more competitive against, like, say, picking this instead of the Twilight Cleric or whatever. But I think that's it. I've got my original plan was to do multiple of these today because I technically have the day off, but I now realize earlier today I realized I have a 1 o'clock appointment, and if you're seeing a little space octopus here in my blank space, it's because I have a little octopus that hangs out on top of my microphone, but you can't see it because it's just beyond my perspective here. So it's a little. When my hand comes up and the camera AI recognizes that this is part of my flesh, occasionally it will add in the microphone right outside of view. And it's not working right now. Anyway, here, I'll do this. A rare glimpse of the world behind me. There you go. That's my guy. He hangs out with me on top of my microphone. You can see my TV and my fireplace behind me. That's where I burn my fire to keep warm in the winter. And that's my significantly sized TV that a blind bat like me needs to be able to see. So I get the Bose soundbar, of course, because Bose is best. But anyway, rare glimpse of my environment behind me. Take it back. You gonna drop back in here, buddy? There you go, Snoop. Okay, thanks. So yeah, that's the little Goomba that hangs out in my periphery that you occasionally see ghost into effect, and it's being shy right now, so you can't see it. Anyway, my ghost Goomba. Yeah, that's it. So okay, I was originally planning on doing at least 2 of these, but I didn't realize I had a 1 o'clock appointment. It's noon now. Shit, it's noon 10, so I gotta prep for something. Let me go ahead and do a quick random.org to see what we set up for next time. So let's go to random.org. We're gonna roll a D3 for Barbarian, Fighter, Rogue. Barbarian, okay. What is true random? So for the Barbarian, we have done Storm Herald, we've done the Battle Rage, we've done Ancestral Guardian, we've done Battle Rager, we've done the Beast, we've done Berserker, we've done Storm Herald. So that means the next is Path of the Totem Warrior. Yes. I am excited about Totem Warrior. So when we come back next time, we are going to build out the Totem Warrior. Just erase all of these bits. And 14th. So yeah, when we come back, we'll continue on that. But that's all I have the time. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. But I will be back tomorrow. We are going to continue asset production for the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration supplement that we've been creating in the morning. And we will be back in the afternoon. Probably going to create, I don't know what we're going to work on. It's hard to say. We're going to work on something. But I don't quite know yet what that is going to be. So, hey, Dungeons and Chronics. Sorry, I wish I was going to be here longer. But I'm checking out for the day. But I appreciate you being around. So, I hate leaving when people are showing up. But I have more on my plate today than I originally thought I did. So I got to bow out. So check out the stream. We just built out the Berserker. If you have any comments or suggestions, thoughts, certainly drop them in the comments, or hit me up on Patreon if you want, or just drop a note to me in Discord or Twitter. But yeah, guys, I will see you on the other side. Thanks a lot.